everyone, welcome to class today. I invite you to get started in a upright seated position, sitting forward on your sit bones, or if you need a cushion or a block to sort of prop yourself up, helping your knees drop down. We're going to feel like the crown of our head is reaching tall towards the sky. Our chin is just slightly tucked, ribs are in, core is slightly engaged. And we're just going to settle down here, grounding down through our seat, taking an inhale. You can close down your eyes if you're comfortable. And exhale all your air back out again. Inhaling. And exhale. Allow yourself to drop into this present moment at the beginning of your practice, knowing that you can dedicate this time and this space for yourself. Maybe you can set an intention, so I invite you to set an intention for practice today. It can be to flow with your breath. It can be maybe a dedication of your practice to someone or something that might need it a bit more than you. Inhaling. And full and complete exhale. Solidifying that intention for your practice to carry forward. If your eyes are closed, we can gently open. And we're going to get started today. Today is a bit more of a faster class than the past couple classes I've taught. Honoring where our body's at, as well as honoring the seasons and the times of years where we're practicing. So currently Australia, it is coming into winter, so needing something that's grounding but still strong. Winter is not the time to be practicing a lot of super crazy, flexible, flowy type practices. It's a time to ground down and root into, ground into yourself and be cozier. So to honor that in our practice is also really important, following the practices and the teachings of yoga. So we're going to come over, hands and knees, starting in a tabletop position. We're going to warm up by just giving ourselves a couple of big circles, shifting our weight from one side through to the front and then back to the other side and towards the back. Warming up into your wrists, your shoulders, your hips. I want you to ensure that all 10 fingertips are plugged down into the mat and that your fingers are spread wide. This is to help protect your wrists and avoid any injuries. Going the opposite direction if you haven't already switched. Nice big circles. You can linger anywhere that feels really nice and feels really good. And then we're going to come to neutral. Good. From here, just taking a couple of cat and cow. Inhaling, pulling your chest through, chin lifts up slightly. And exhale, rounding and curling, pressing away. Inhaling, pulling your chest through, chin lifts up slightly. And exhale, rounding, curling, pressing away from your hands, tailbone tucks under. And we're just going to drop back to neutral. Making sure that all 10 fingertips are plugged into your mat. We're going to tuck our toes. We're lifting up to a downward facing dog. When we lift up, I want to make sure that we're pressing away from our hands, hips lift high, keeping our rib cage engaged. So when I say rib cage engaged, it means not to let our tummies flare out. We keep things in alignment when we're pressing back.
Pressing away from your hands, tailbone lifts high. Keep that bend in your knees, lifting high to your tiptoes. We'll slowly walk out the dog, maybe straightening one leg. Just gently, your heel does not have to touch the ground. And then straightening through the other one. Keeping that tailbone lifting high. Just taking your time, maybe matching your breath. Any of your movements. Allowing yourself to come into your first downward facing dog. We'll gently drop our heels down towards the mat. Shoulders still move away from ears. You don't want to hike your shoulders up, keeping them pressing away from your ears. I'm going to take off this sweater. So, shoulders still come away from ears. Tailbone lifts high. Maybe we're allowing both heels to drop towards the mat. It's your first downward dog of practice, so just taking it easy, relaxing through your neck, shoulders away from ears. One more inhale. Full and complete exhale. Good. We're going to walk our hands back towards our feet. You can keep a nice bend in your knees, dropping your head, chin comes in towards chest. Grabbing opposite elbows with your hands and just letting yourself hang here for a moment. Keep as much of a bend in those knees as you need to. Weight evenly distributed through your feet. And we're going to feel the stretch maybe through your shoulders a little bit, maybe through your spine, the back of your neck. If you really allow your chin to come towards your chest and the crown of your head to drop down as much as you need. Remembering to keep that small bend in your knees. And inhaling. And exhale. One more inhale. And on your exhale, maybe just letting yourself drop a little bit further into the stretch. We'll slowly release our hands. Bend through your knees a lot. Keep your hands and your head heavy, and we're just slowly rolling vertebrae by vertebrae all the way to the top of our mat. Shoulders go up, back, and down. Good. Hands face forward, gaze is forward, just standing in Tadasana to start. Inhaling and exhale. Feel your weight ground down through all four corners of your feet. Crown of your head lifts tall, shoulders are drawing away from your ears, palms face forward. Good. Inhaling, both hands up. Exhale, hinging from the hips. You can bend your knees for your forward fold as we warm up, as we move into our body. Inhale, find a halfway lift, so nice long spine. You want to come to where your back is as flat into a neutral position as possible. So it's the first one, so you might be up a bit higher than where you might find yourself towards the end of class. And then exhale, we're releasing back down. We're walking our hands out to the top of our mat, finding a high plank. If your high plank is too much, dropping down to your knees, we're going to shift our weight forward. So you can still sort of see the shift of your weight forward, even if you're on your knees. Our elbows wrap back, and we're slowly lowering all the way down to the mat. Good. Tops of your feet press down. Forehead comes down to mat. Inhale, find a halfway lift for your cobra. It doesn't need to be strong, it doesn't need to be high. And then release. One more time, inhale, tops of your feet into the mat. Just a small mini halfway lift into your cobra. And exhale, release. Good, tucking your toes, all 10 fingers press into the mat, elbows press backwards, and we're shifting our weight to tabletop. Keeping your toes tucked, lifting your hips back for downward facing dog. Shoulders away from ears, tailbone lifts high. So you can find a bit of readjustment by coming up onto your tiptoes, lifting that tailbone high, and then letting your heels drop. Seeing if that shifts your stretch at all, shifts the position and how we're practicing. Taking an inhale, full and complete exhale. Good. Looking forward between our hands. We're stepping to the top of our mat this time. Both feet meet between our hands. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Good. We'll slowly roll all the way up to stand. Shoulders drop down. Good. Inhaling, hands up. Exhale, find your forward fold. I'm very close to my front railing. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step back with our right foot all the way to the back of our mat, dropping that knee down for a low lunge. Here, try coming up a little bit out of that front knee, seeing if we can feel the stretch through that front hip flexor a little bit. My front knee's over top of my front ankle. Good. Just taking an inhale here. And exhale, we're going to release back down, placing our hands either side of that foot. Step back to your high plank. If you want to, dropping down to your knees, or you can stay lifted for your plank. Shift your weight forward, lowering all the way down to your belly. Nice and with control. Toes untucked, tops of your feet press down into the mat. Maybe your knees even lift off. And then inhale for your cobra. And exhale, release. Tucking your toes, pressing back through your tabletop. Lifting your hips high, downward facing dog. Shoulders are away from your ears. One deep inhale and full and complete exhale. Good, looking forward between your hands. Left foot steps to the top. We're not dropping our back knee down, we're just staying lifted here for a moment. And then, if you can, one big step. Right foot meets the left. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through your knees, hands and head heavy, slowly rolling all the way to the top of your mat. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, your hands can come down, bending through your knees to start if you like. Stepping one big step back with your left foot. Dropping your back knee down, coming to your low lunge. Maybe coming off that front leg a little bit. Right knee's over top of right ankle. Making sure both hips are facing forward. Just finding a bit of stillness here. Inhaling. And exhale. Good. Coming back down. Hands on either side of your right foot. Stepping it back to a high plank. If high plank's too much, dropping your knees down. Or you can stay lifted, shift your weight forward for a chaturanga, or come all the way down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale, back. Downward facing dog. Tailbone lifts high. Shoulders are away from ears, pressing out of your fingertips. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. From here, looking forward between your hands. Right foot steps forward between. Not dropping your back knee, just staying here for a moment. And then if you can, with one big step, left foot meets right at the top. Inhale, find your halfway lift. And exhale, release. Forward fold. Bending through your knees, hands and head heavy. Slowly rolling all the way to the top of your mat. Shoulders draw down. Good. Keeping with the flow. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, hinging from the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, stepping your left foot back. And then your right for high plank. Shift your weight forward. Coming into your chaturanga. Remember, you can be on your knees if you like for this one. Either come into chaturanga or all the way down to your belly. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, pressing back. Downward facing dog. Tailbone lifts high, pressing away from your hands. Inhaling and exhale. Good. One more inhale and exhale. From here, we're going to step our right foot between our hands. We're going to spin our left heel down and windmill our hands open to face the left side of our mat. Good. So this is Warrior 2, Veerabhadrasana 2. Hands reach up in line with your shoulders. Seeing if you can keep that tailbone tucked under. My front heel is in line with the back arch of my back foot. Gaze looks over your front hand. Inhaling and exhale. Good. And windmill our hands back down. Our back heel lifts up, stepping back to your high plank. Pause here a moment. Just check in with your alignment. Are you pressing away from your hands? Legs are engaged, core is engaged. Good. Shifting our weight forward for your chaturanga. Inhale up and exhale back. Tailbone lifts high, shoulders are away from ears. From here, we're now stepping our left foot forward between our hands. So we're moving to the opposite side. Right heel drops down as we windmill our hands open. We're now facing the right side of our mat. Tailbone tucks under. My knees in line with my ankle, facing the same direction as my front toes. My heels in line with the back arch, my back foot. Hands reach up. Veerabhadrasana 2. Taking an inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. From here, windmilling your hands back to the front. Back heel spins up. Hands can come down either side as we step back to our high plank. You choose. You can drop down to your knees, shift forward all the way to your belly if you like, or come through chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, pressing back. Downward facing dog. Taking an inhale and a full and complete exhale. One more round of breath. Just settling down here. Looking forward between our hands, stepping to the top of our mat. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Keeping your hands and your head heavy, and we'll slowly roll all the way to the top of our mat. Shoulders draw down. Good. This time, toes together, heels have a bit of space. We're moving through Utkatasana, so our chair pose. Toes together, heels have a bit of space. As we inhale our hands up as our hips go back. Trying not to flare your rib cage out. We still want to keep that rib cage nice and in alignment with our core. So our core is lightly engaged. Inhale, hands up, hips go back. Taking a nice inhale here. Maybe finding a bit more depth. Hips going further back on your exhale. And then we'll release, forward fold. Inhale, find your halfway lift. And exhale, release. We're going to step back to our high plank. Pause for a moment. Pressing away from your hands. Finding that core connection. And then we'll shift our weight forward. You can take chaturanga or move all the way down to your belly. Cobra or up dog. Pressing back. Downward facing dog. Good. From here, right toes lift up, keeping your hips square. Just a small three-legged down dog. Inhaling and exhaling. Stepping your right foot through between your hands. We're spinning open for Veerabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Left heel spins back down. Hands open to the side. Good. Gaze looks over your front hand. Inhaling. And exhale. Maybe one more inhale. And on your exhale, maybe you find just a touch more depth. Windmill your hands back to the front. Back heel spins up. Step back to your high plank. Shift through your choice. Cobra or up dog. And back, downward facing dog. Good. Find your alignment. Shoulders away from ears, pressing through all 10 fingertips. This time we're lifting left toes up. Keep your hips square. Three-legged down dog. One inhale. Full and complete exhale. Left foot steps through between your hands. Right heel spins down, opening up to the side, Warrior 2. Tailbone tucks under. Shoulders are away from your ears. Gaze over your front hand. Inhaling. And exhale. In our Warrior 2, we want to feel like we're being sandwiched between two walls. So straight on either side. Inhaling. And exhale, maybe just a bit more depth. And we'll windmill our hands back to the front. Back heel spins up. Stepping back to your high plank. Shift your weight forward for your chaturanga or all the way down. Inhale up. Exhale back. Pressing away from your hands, shoulders away from ears. Downward facing dog. Maybe just checking that your heels are in line with your toes. So sometimes our heels come in on a bit of an angle. We want to make sure that they're in alignment with those toes facing straight backwards. Inhaling. And exhale. Looking forward between our hands. Stepping to the top of our mat. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're moving into Utkatasana, chair pose. Toes are together, heels have a bit of space. Inhale, hands sweep up. Hips go back. Find a moment of pause. Grounding down through your heels more than your toes. Hips drop backwards. Inhaling. And exhale, release, stand tall. Good. Give yourself a little shake. Moving through Utkatasana again. Inhale, hands up, hips back. Feeling like we're grounding down here. Dropping the weight further back. Ribs are in a line with our core. And then we're going to release, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back, finding your high plank. Good. Pause here. Nice big inhale. And exhale. Shift your weight forward, find your chaturanga, cobra or up dog. And back, downward facing dog. Shoulders are away from ears, pressing into all 10 fingertips. From here, we're stepping our right foot maybe about halfway, not all the way to the top. We're going to spin open to the left side of our mat. So now we're here for this wide-legged forward fold position. To start, we can bend a lot through our knees, keeping a nice strong core. Ribs are in alignment. Just pausing here for a moment. Hands can come to hips and we stand all the way up. Good. Finding this alignment, once again, toes are going to come in slightly, so small pigeon-toed. Hands on hips, nice and straight through our spine, hinging from the hips, forward fold. Remember, keeping a small micro bend in those knees, or you can bend a bit more through them. It's up to you what feels most comfortable. Maybe we can walk our hands between our feet on either side as our head drops down. Finding what's comfortable for you. Your weight's evenly distributed through both feet. If you're looking for a bit more of a hamstring stretch, see if you can shift your weight more towards your toes than towards your heels. Inhaling and exhale. Hands can come to hips, bending through your knees, find your halfway point, and then rise all the way back up. Good. From here, I want you to take your toes out this time. So rather than pigeon toe, taking your toes out, you can have a narrower stance if you like, or maybe finding a bit of a wider stance. So toes turn out. We're going to bend through our knees. You can keep your hands on your hips for this one. Bending through your knees, keeping that tailbone under, core engagement, ribs are in. Maybe you find a bit more depth. Good. Hands can reach up if you like. This is our goddess pose. Feel like there's a string pulling down through the root of your spine and then up through the top of your head. Inhaling and exhale. Good. One more inhale. And exhale. Hands can come back to your hips and we slowly rise back up. Good. We're going to move into it again. So we want to make sure that our knees are tracking the same direction as our toes. So make sure that your toes are in a spot where your knees can stay in alignment. Okay, so just double check that your knees are going the same way as your toes. Make sense? So hands can be on hips. Maybe you're taking a narrower or maybe a wider stance this time. Nice deep inhale and full and complete exhale as we sink down. Feel like the root of your spine is dropping down, crown of your head is reaching tall. Core engagement, ribs are in alignment. Maybe we're inhaling our hands up. Good. Finding a bit of stillness. From here, we can drop our right hand under as we scoop it through and our left hand reaches over. Just a small side body coming back to the top. Left hand scoops under, right hand reaches over. And back to the top. Inhaling and exhale, maybe just a bit more depth. You can drop your hands back to your hips and coming back, standing up tall. Good. Heel toe, your feet in. They're going to be a bit wider than hip distance. From here, toes are still out at a bit of an angle. You can use your hands in front of you as sort of a leveraged weight. You can keep your hands on your hips. Maybe they're just in towards your heart center. You choose. We're going to send our hips backwards, keeping that core engagement, bending through our knees, finding a bit of a lower squat. If you can't work your way all the way down, that's all right. You can, if you like, if you've got a wall or a banister or something like that, you can work on dropping those hips down, holding on to something, finding as much depth as you can. Here, same thing, it's very important to keep your knees in alignment with your toes. You choose what's most comfortable for you. Working those hips down. Good. We want to keep our chest up. I'm going to use my elbows to press into my knees. If your heels aren't down, that's okay. So maybe you're up a bit more on your toes here. We can slowly work on getting your heels down. Chest lifts open, using those elbows to press your knees wide. Inhaling and exhale. Good, and we're going to slowly come out however you need to. You can place your hands down, lift your hips up, and just heel toe them in. Good. However you like, we're going to come sitting back down onto our mat, and we're going to move into a half pigeon pose before we work our way to happy baby and then to Shavasana. So I'm going to do right leg first. So half pigeon. My right knee comes towards the top corner of my mat. I'm going to kick my left leg out behind me. I like to keep my left toes tucked to help keep my hips facing forward. We want to avoid opening up to the side, because then we're not actually getting the full potential of this stretch. This top leg doesn't have to be open super wide. It can come down towards your midline as long as both of your hips are still facing forward. Good. Find the position that works best for you, and we can slowly start working our way down. Finding a bit of stillness, making a couple of adjustments before you get there. to the position that works best for you. This stretch can be quite intense, so I recommend to use your breath as a tool here. Direct your inhale to the point where you have the most tension, which is generally on the outside towards the back of your right hip. So using your breath to direct towards that point of tension, your inhale is going to expand, and your exhale is going to allow yourself to drop in. So we're trying not to get caught up in a narrative in our heads saying, oh, I'm not flexible enough, I can't do this pose, yada yada yada. We're going to just try to focus on our breath, having acceptance for where our body is and honoring that, and just working with our each unique individual expression of a pose. Finding a bit more stillness here, dropping in, just allowing yourself to be present. I know it's easier said than done. To release this pose, we're going to simply roll over towards our right hip and swing that leg around, our left leg around. Good. So now that our left leg is at the front, we're going to switch sides. Left knee comes towards the top corner of your mat, and your right leg kicks back. I like to use my back toes to help ensure that both my hips are facing forward. The wider open that front leg is, the more intense the stretch will probably feel for you. So you can close that top foot off towards the midline. Taking a couple of adjustments to find the spot that works for you, as we're going to stay here for 30 seconds to a minute, same as last time. So finding your position and then maybe working your way down. Again, here I invite you to use your breath as a tool to really allow yourself to be present with those little feelings of uncomfortableness and tension. If there's any short, sharp pain, please do come out. But if it's something that you can sit through, I invite you to try and sit through with as much stillness as possible. So to avoid fidgeting as much as we can, and just drop in. To come out of this posture, same thing, we're going to roll over towards our left and just kick our right leg through. Good. We're going to work our way back down to lay all the way down onto our backs, making sure that our head drops down, our tailbone is rooted down into the ground. We're going to bring our knees towards our armpits and grab the outsides of our feet. Happy baby. If you're very tight through your hamstrings, maybe you keep your heels towards your bum a bit more, or you can lift them open. You choose. Try to keep that tailbone rooted down into the mat. Maybe just taking a couple rocks from side to side. And then finding stillness. Just taking a couple rounds of breath before we close off and release our feet down and find your way into your final resting pose, into Shavasana. If you've got tension through your low back, you can keep your knees bent, feet on the mat, knees fall in towards each other. Shoulder blades drop down on your mat, hands fall open. Let the weight of your head drop back, closing down your eyes. Finding a nice grounding inhale and a full and complete exhale here. Allowing your body to drop down into this last posture, arguably the most important one, our Shavasana, for the end of our yoga practice. Well, actually just the end of our physical practice. Maybe one more grounding inhale, filling through your belly, your sides, your back, and full and complete exhale. And then just allowing your breath to return to natural, normal flow. As you let the weight of your body drop down and heavy into your mat and feel fully supported here as you rest. I invite you to spend as much time as you need here today. Drink lots of water after practice, and I hope this practice has served you, that you can carry forward your intention from the beginning of class to whatever the rest of your day might bring. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.